Welcome to Beginner Breakdown. I'm filling in for Mike Kummer, who has the rest of the year off, which is another day. I'm under the weather today, so I won't be my usual effervescent self, but I'll try to be half as good as Mike Kummer, which is, I guess, all we can aspire to be. There's 3 games I want to look at today. None of them are really beginners, but they're close. I guess everybody's a beginner. Okay, the first is from Arjun. It's a game that he played on chess.com. Looks like he played it today. Yeah, awesome. Okay, Arjun's white, and he played e4. Now I could go on for an hour about how terrible this move is, but I won't. e5, knight f3, d6. This is more uncommon now than it was 150 years ago, but I think it's quite reasonable, the Philidor defense. I've played this with black also, but this isn't the move order that I play. I usually play d6 first, but okay. Now Arjun made a very strange move, because Arjun is well familiar with Morphy versus the Count and the Duke, the opera game. In that game, white played d4. And instead, he played a very passive move, which gives away chances for an advantage. In fact, in the opera game, black did play bishop g4, the move that Arjun was afraid of. And then after takes, this move doesn't make a lot of sense now. Black actually had to take the knight. Okay, but instead Arjun played a bit passively with h3. Generally, the first 5 or 10 moves of the game, if you play h3 or h6 for no reason, you're just losing a tempo. And white should be getting his pieces out and such. Okay, now black made an anti-positional move, which stops d4. He played c5. Unfortunately, this weakens all the white squares because all of black's pawns are on dark squares. So white could play a move now like bishop c4, or white could play c3 and then d4. What's funny is, this is very similar to a game I played with Matikosian a few weeks ago, except I was a tempo down. He played a knight orf, and after d6, I played knight c3, and he played a6, which I wasn't expecting. And I played bishop e2, and he played e5. What's that?
That's what I was saying.
Yeah, and he played e5, and it's sort of similar to your game. And then I played bishop c4, and the game ended in a draw. Okay, so your game has the same kind of pawn structure, except in my game, my knight was on c3. So with the knight on b1, white could play c3 and then d4 if you wanted to. Okay, but you played knight c3. And after a6, this is actually, if you play bishop c4, or you didn't play bishop c4. In fact, you played a rather strange move. Bishop c4 would be my game, except you have h3 in, which is pretty helpful, I think. So, okay, you played a3. It's a hard to explain move. Okay, then I assume that you wanted to play bishop c4, but didn't want your bishop to get trapped. Right, although bishop has d5, yeah, okay. And also probably a4 would be better to stop b5. a3 is a bit passive. Okay, knight c6. It's a closed position, so making inaccurate moves doesn't really hurt your chances very much. Knight to d5, and then d3. I don't like your opponent's next move. I like developing pieces and castling, but I'm not a beginner, so I'm not really sure what you guys should be doing. He took the knight, which I don't like, because now he doesn't have a white squared bishop. So he puts all his pawns on dark squares, and then he keeps his dark squared bishop, which can't move, and trades his good bishop. So I'm not a fan. I'm going to log into Facebook now and become not a fan of that. Okay, I'm trying to go forward, but okay, I went forward too much. Okay, and after knight d4, you took the knight. I probably wouldn't do that, but I'm not against it. You know, he might not take back, but then you're good. Okay, he took. Again, white has an advantage here because white has the 2 bishops, and it's white's turn to move, and black has no development. So, I don't know, this pawn looks pretty strong on d4, so I might play c3. You played b4, which isn't a move I would have considered. That seems to make it difficult to hang on to your d pawn also. And in fact, that's what happened. You played bishop b2, and he took your d pawn. Then you were down a pawn. Also, like I wanted to play queen f3 here because it defends your pawn, but In this position, I guess you could still play queen f3 and try to get your pawn back that way. Looks like you'd be successful. But you played bishop e2. Bishop wants to go to f3, which is very good. Knight c3. Okay, you took. And we have an opposite colored bishop position where black has an extra pawn. And castles. I would probably try to castle quickly here with black, but black played d5, trying to play d4. With the king on e8, that's pretty risky. I would play bishop f3 here, then rook e1. You played bishop g4. That's okay. Bishop d6 I like. f4. I don't know, I would probably take it. Then I'd be up 2 pawns. Then you could play queen e1 check and get your pawn back here. That'd be a good move. Okay, so he castled, which has to be good. And now Arjun will explain something to me. You ready to explain something to me?
What?
After you took, your opponent made a move I don't understand.
What?
He didn't take back.
I didn't understand that either.
Okay, yeah, you just take back and you're down a pawn. But he played here. So now you're equal. That move is sort of strange. Okay, now you played king h1. Doesn't that give the pawn away he didn't take?
Yeah?
So maybe you should protect it, like d4 or queen e2 or queen e1.
I want to like get trapped on the diagonal.
Trapped?
Check.
Why not? Then you would play king h1.
And I lose a move.
You don't lose a move. You played king h1. You're saying you played king h1 so that later you don't play king h1? That's you playing king h1 anyway. Okay, so to appease you, right, we'll play d4. Then you defend your pawn and you don't get checked on the diagonal. Wow. Although if you get checked on the diagonal, you move your king away, so it's not a big deal. Okay, so king h1 gives the pawn back again, but if he wasn't going to take it last time, why should he take it this time? So queen g5. Hope you defended it now. No, I was wrong. You have to defend your pawn, it's hanging, so d4. You played here, and now you'd be in a lot of trouble after queen takes e5. You'd either have to go here, or you'd have to give another pawn away. Otherwise you get checkmated. Your opponent took with the bishop, which is sort of strange. I'm assuming you can just take the d5 pawn now. Queen takes b7. Wait, I missed a move then. Ah, okay. That's why the game doesn't make any sense, because I missed a move. It's like, this game doesn't make any sense. Okay, so I told you I was sick today. So after d5, you played rook e1. I like that move. Okay, that makes sense. d4, bishop g4. Ah, this is why he didn't take, and why this is why everything didn't happen. Okay. Now the game makes a lot of sense. Okay. Oh, actually, you played king h1. Okay. Yeah, now the game makes perfect sense. Every move is a picture. Okay, what's the material here? Even? Interesting position. Not sure who's better.
Yeah.
Rook f b8. That's not a move I ever would have thought of ever. So he gets a prize for making a move I would never consider. So now f7 is weak, which isn't good when white has an open f file. This rook is trapped on a8, so that's really bad move. Okay, you played queen e4. I would have played queen d5, but that's me. And you bishop f6, bishop f3, rook to d8. These moves make a lot of sense. And now you can get 2 rooks for a queen.
But I did that.
Hmm.
I did that.
You did? It says you played rook e2. It says you did it like 10 moves later. Yeah. I don't know if I would do that. Probably not, because then your king would be exposed to his queen and bishop. And with your queen, he can't really checkmate you. So I think I wouldn't do that also. I agree. And you doubled rooks. I like the way you're playing. Okay, now you took. And you guys played the best moves. Oh, you actually took the wrong rook. You took on A8. Wow. Yeah, that doesn't make a lot of sense. Like here you gain a tempo. Your rook's on the back rank and you're checking him, but you took this rook. Wow, that's a strange idea. Now your bishop's on the back rank instead of your rook. I'm not sure if that's good. And now it's his move. Okay, so if I was black, I would try to set my queen and bishop up on this diagonal to play queen h2 mate. It's hard to play bishop here though, because you're always taking it. So maybe queen here, bishop g5, bishop f4. Bishop's really good on e3 also.
Yeah, that's what he got.
Yeah, so I think I'd play queen g3, but this is okay. Okay, now you made a bad move. Don't make bad moves. You don't want your king on a dark square because it's going to get in trouble. You want on a white square. So you played king h2. Oh, actually, you can play g3 before he can play bishop f4. Well, in that case, you're a genius. Yeah, in that case, you did good. Okay, then you played perfect. Okay, then you forced weaknesses in his king. Good. Unclear position. I'm not sure who's better. Bishop e3. Because you could potentially get a passed pawn on the queen side, but his c3 pawn is really close to queening. So if you lose your c2 pawn, you'll be in a lot of trouble. Okay, you threatened a pawn, but he saw it. Amazing. And then you guys made random legal moves. That's good. And you played X-clam. So the question is, why didn't you play that on the previous move? Let's have a look. That seems good, right? Rook f1? Agreed? Yeah. So king g7 is a mistake. What could he have done? Is he just in trouble? Maybe. Yeah, maybe he's just losing because he can't defend the f7 pawn. That seems likely. Okay, so you played there. Now he has a chance, but he played this, and now rook f1 seems to be winning.
And I think this is forced win.
Yeah. No, yeah, he can't defend here, so you're winning.
Until he has to drop the queen.
Yeah. a5, that's very ambitious. And you took with that rook, and then you mated him in two, I guess. Isn't that mate? Isn't this just checkmate?
No.
Yeah.
H8 and Julian.
Right, but it's checkmate. Yeah. That's what you did. Then you checkmated him. You should repeat first, then checkmate him. No, I'm kidding. I mean, I'm not kidding. I would do it, but yeah. So that's funny. You remember when he played rook f to b8, and I was like, he needs his rook to defend his f pawn. Then you showed him, right? Yeah. So this is unclear position. It's not clear if the two rooks or the queen is better, but f7's a really weak pawn because you have an open file. So like here, you know, he has to try to figure out how to defend f7. Okay, so f7's weak, and black has to stop white from putting all his rooks there. In fact, I was espousing bishop e3. What a great bishop. Hooray. But that was actually a bad move because white wants to not only play rook f1, which I saw, but rook e7, which I didn't see. And rook e7 is not possible because there's a bishop on g5. So because of bishop e3, that allowed you to put your rooks where you wanted. And then, okay, he got checkmated instead of defending. Yeah, not so good. Yeah, here I think he's already in a lot of trouble, probably already losing. So that was a nice game. And I got a free thing from it. I get to keep this thing. Yay. Plus the Kit Kat, which is worth even more. Okay. Now I wanted to show a couple of games. I guess we'll finish with my game. Now, game 2 was between two of our club members who, I mean, they should be beginners, but they're both rated 1900 for some reason. But they play like beginners, so it's good for our class. French, although that's not his first name, against Julian. That is his first name. Okay, you would hope it's a French defense, but Julian was black, so it wasn't. And they just played upstairs in a rated game, and I assume they both played too quickly, because that's what they do.
I thought Julian won the game.
You'd think that, yeah. Okay, knight f3. Oh, I'm Ben. That's Arjun. That's Ben. Oh, French is white, French, and Julian's black. Okay. Now, I played French in the last tournament here, the 12, 13, 14. And he played the same way against me. He played e3, playing for equality. Okay, I think this is my game with French, actually. Maybe they just copied my game down and put Julian. I don't know. Okay, d6. This is still my game with French. Okay, Okay, he wrote knight d7 because, again, they should be beginners. They really don't know how to keep score, and neither one knows how to behave at the chessboard. So they really do behave and keep score like beginners. Also, whoever's notation this is, they put the wrong year. Usually you wait till 2015 and you put 2014. He did the opposite. He put 2015 as 2014. So, okay, and also it says knight to d7. For those of you who want to learn how to keep score, that would be knight b to d7, since the other knight can go to d7. In fact, I'm not even sure which knight went to d7. Okay, he played knight h5 later, so now I'm sure. Okay, b3 to fianchetto his bishop, and that's what happened. Okay, and Julian played knight h5. That seems reasonable. I'd probably play rook e8 or queen e7, but okay, knight h5 is okay. Okay, now white made a move that makes very little sense, b4. Usually they play b4 before they play b3, so you don't lose a tempo. And the reason is you're trying to expand on the queen side. But okay, he already played b3. I mean, he played b3, bishop b2, then b4. He could have played b4, then bishop b2, and been a tempo ahead. So that's sort of odd. Okay, f5. And then it's hard to resist a check, so he checked. And then he traded, because that's what he does. This is, no. This game was played upstairs about an hour ago, so I don't think so.
Is Julian here?
Yeah. Okay, queen e2. These moves make a lot of sense. Now the a pawn is attacked. It says rook b1. Again, it's difficult for the players to keep score because it's a beginner class. So you would put which rook actually went to b1, and I actually don't know. So I have to guess rook a to b1. Do you think that's right, Arjun? Oh, I think it's other rook. Okay. So the idea, for those of you at home who are beginners, and that's probably all of you, if the queen takes, that's very dangerous because there's a rook on b1 that's opposing it. So moves like bishop takes e5 would have a discovered attack on the queen, and then bishop on e5 is attacking everything, and you give up your center pawn. So he didn't do that. That's very dangerous. He played knight b6. Seems reasonable to me. Bishop b3. Okay. And again, neither player keeps score very well. I'm assuming this is French's score sheet because it's filled with errors. It says f5, which was played 5 moves ago. He probably didn't play it again. So then later in the game, it says f5 takes e3. So I'm going to guess he thinks f4 and f5 are the same square. So I'm going to play f4. Now f4 is good because then the bishop on c8 gets to go to g4 and f5. Put pressure on white's position. Okay, now it says another illegal move. Knight takes d5. Wow, that's actually hard to figure out what happened, but I'll do it. Okay, I think he played here, and I think the tactical justification is if you take, then you take this, and the bishop's pinned to the queen. And then if you play bishop f6, your bishop's pinned, so you can't take the queen on e7. So that's pretty good for a beginner.
What if you take the pawn with the knight?
If you take the pawn with the knight, then I would play, I have 2 moves that win. I'm trying to figure out which wins more. This I guess they equally win, so I apologize. No, this does win more. Yeah, I'm wrong. This is actually mate. Yeah, this is forced mate, so that wins more.
Okay.
Yeah, and then the game would end like this. Mate. Okay, so actually f4 was a mistake if knight takes e5 is good. It seems like it is. It seems like after bishop takes, pawn takes, that white is just winning, since I don't see what black can do. Arjun, what do you think?
Yeah,
Good for white? Okay. So he wrote knight takes d5, but he meant e5, a common mistake. Julian developed his bishop, and now his king's not exposed on the diagonal anymore. He can play king g8 if necessary. Okay, and he traded because he likes to trade. And the knight went back to f3. Black's a pawn down, and the next few moves are illegal, of course. So I have to figure out, okay, I think he played, no, he didn't. Rook to d7, rook, yeah, I'll never know what he played. I think he played here, but the score sheet just says nonsense. So, but that makes sense because it pins the pawn on e3. What's that? It just says nonsense. So, doesn't say a move really. Okay, now queen d3, that unpins. That's strange because I could just take this and win a pawn. But okay, it's a beginner class, so yeah. None of these moves make any sense. Okay, well, rook f5, that doesn't make any sense. Well, I can just play e4 here. So probably this isn't right. Bishop g7, knight g7, queen c3, queen takes g4. Wow.
That's an impressive move.
It is.
Maybe he's trying to say queen takes b4.
Also illegal.
Or queen c4.
That's all even worse. Queen c7, rook d7. He played rook d5. Ah. Okay, I missed a move. Okay, in this position, it says knight and then like the symbol for Batman, 3. Queen takes. Huh. Queen takes g4 is never happening.
Did that mean knight b3?
I don't know. Yeah, but how do you play queen takes g4 then? You know what? He probably played queen g4 and wrote queen takes g4. Yeah, that's the kind of thing they would do. So let's play knight b3, and let's see if I'm right. Here, 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 and then queen g4, which is sort of like queen takes g4, but it's nothing to take. Queen takes, oops. Wow, that is a beginner breakdown. Yeah. This is Grandmaster breakdown. The Grandmaster's breaking down. Rook d7. That doesn't make any sense because we can play queen takes f4. Okay, queen here, f takes e3, knight e5, forking the queen and rook, takes check. I don't know, this position's coming to fruition, so maybe these moves that make no sense actually happened. Okay, queen h4, and then they traded. So black just gave everything away. That's an interesting way of playing. Okay, this says that he played here. I don't approve of that move. And then here, threatening. Ah, okay, I just thought he was being silly, but he's not. Okay, Julian wanted to play knight f5 and then knight g3 mate, which is good for black. But he saw queen takes f2, defending and attacking and everything. So he played knight c5, sacrificing a piece, and then he played here, and now then queen takes f2 is illegal because there's a pawn on c5. Okay, so this says queen a3, which means the white knight isn't on b3. So I'm guessing that knight was taken by the queen when it went somewhere else, like in this position. It says 3, but yeah, like here. Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, because when he played queen a3, he's obviously defending the mate, which means the knight isn't on b3. No, he didn't do that. He played queen a3 to defend this mate here, but since white doesn't know how to keep score, it's hard to, it happens in the beginner class. We don't really have notation. And the beginners make a lot of notation mistakes. And of course, if you're a beginner at home or here, if you have a chess coach and you want to show them your games, when you make many, many notation errors, I'm used to that because my students all do, but usually I can figure it out, usually. So I'm guessing this knight isn't here. It's probably just off the board. And that stops the mate. And then, so what we're going to do is I'm going to cheat a little. It's going to be good cheating. Okay. And then, yeah, we'll play here. I don't know. Okay, so in a position that was similar to this, Julian played rook takes c5, hoping for queen takes rook, and then knight g3 mate. So that's sort of cool, right? And instead, white checked, and now it says king h5, which obviously is illegal. Although it also says king h7, so that's, yeah. And then they stopped keeping score because they used so much time they were in time trouble. No, I'm kidding, because they never think it all ever. So I'm assuming the game didn't end here, but like they just stopped keeping score, okay? So for beginner breakdown, this is a very good game. It teaches you how not to keep score. Like every move is wrong, the year is wrong, the players' names don't make any sense. He writes his last name and the guy's first name, okay? The only thing correct was 1-0. White did win, okay? And how do I know that? Thank you for asking at home. Because when I direct kids tournaments and the game ends and I'm sitting there and I'm trying to take a nap, then one of the kids runs up to me and the other kid doesn't. Then I know who won, okay? And I always say, like, how did you do? And they're like, I won. I'm like, wow, what a surprise. They didn't run up to tell me they lost. And this game score was turned in by French, and I didn't see Julian, so I guessed the French won, okay? And the game was something like this, close. You can't beat that. Right, Ben? Yeah, see, he agrees. Okay, now, when you're a grandmaster, you don't need to keep score. You just remember the game because the game of chess makes sense. Like, I made this move for this reason, and they made this move for this reason, and then we don't need notation. So, now this game was played in a blitz tournament that we had on Saturday. Not a strong tournament, but I was required to play, so I played. Makes sense. And this was a very instructive game because my opponent made a lot of instructive errors and he was punished. So my opponent was rated 1400, but they're probably about 1700 strength. They've been gaining 100 points a month lately. This game, he was not 1700. And we played a Nimzo-Indian. I always play the queen c2 Nimzo, even in blitz. And here, a3 is the most common move, and I usually play knight f3. And for no reason, I just decided to play e4. e4 over the last 6 years is probably equally common to a3 now, if not more common. And my opponent played the recommended book move. And we got this position, which I've analyzed in depth at home, but it was about 2 years ago. So what do I remember? No, nothing. And I know that c5 is the main move, and I think it's the only move. I don't think there's another move. Now here my opponent made the losing move. Now, let's see if my audience is sharp, because you look pretty sharp. When is it good to make the losing move? When is it a good idea? You.
When we're playing you.
Correct. Very sharp. If you're my opponent, make the losing move. Otherwise, don't do that. Okay, not only is this the losing move, the move doesn't make any sense. Okay, if you're gonna make the losing move, make it look cool. My knight can't move because it's pinned, so it would be illegal to move it. When pieces are pinned, you shouldn't trade. You should say, ah, your piece is pinned, aha. So instead, my opponent not only traded, but he lost material doing so, because now his bishop's attacked and my battery is attacking his h7 pawn. Okay, so he saved his bishop.
I saw this.
Yeah, how did you see it if you were playing? Oh, you saw it in a kid's class, that's why.
Yeah.
And you remember every move.
Well, not every move.
Yeah. Okay, bishop e7. Now, if I was playing in a tournament, I would play bishop d3 and I would win. But this is a blitz tournament, that's different. So a blitz tournament, you gotta play, you know, with flair, okay? Or as Ben Simon would say, with Rick. Okay, so I played h4 because I like to put it in h, Homer Simpson style. Now, there's two really cool variations here if he plays the obvious move. What's the obvious move for black, Arjun? No, that's the worst move I ever saw. G6. Bishop h4, opening up my rook, you know, that's, yeah. Never in all my years. Okay, but g6 wins my bishop, right? Okay, so my analysis, which took 2 seconds, so it's probably pretty wrong, was h5, and if he tries to win my bishop, double check, and here's variation 1 with mate next move, right, Arjun? Okay, and variation 2 is really cool. Let's say he plays king g8, because that's the other legal move, right? Then g7. Because I want to play queen h7, but it's illegal. But they should let me do it because I'm a grandmaster, but they don't. g7, and then queen h7 mate is the threat. So you have to play f5, exclam. And then I would be winning. Hooray for me. So those are some of the variations I analyzed when I played h4. My opponent, sort of like Arjun, was interested in taking pawns, and getting mated was a secondary consideration. So he played d takes c4. And I played knight f3. And I'm going to put something on g5. Not sure what. Probably not my queen. He played c5, attacking in the center. And I was like, please take with your bishop, so your bishop's not defending your king. And he said, shh, can't talk during the game. And then he did. I mean, it was grandmaster advice. So, okay, and I played knight g5. So I have a lot of pieces attacking, and he has a lot of pieces that haven't moved yet. It's also good. And now he retreated. Okay, now, if you were a grandmaster, Arjun, would you play queen takes bishop mate?
No.
The answer is yes, but you're not a grandmaster, so you don't know that, right? Okay, so I want to play queen h7 mate, like in the previous variation where my pawn was on g6. So what move did I play so that queen h7 mate is legal? There's only one answer to that question. I made a move, and then my next move would be queen h7 mate. Only one possible move I can play where I can play queen h7 next move. Ben? Bishop g8. Okay, now queen h7 mate is the threat. And if he takes my knight, I play queen h7 mate. If he takes my bishop, I play queen h7 mate. Not good choices for him. So he played what move, Arjun?
F5.
No, that's not bad. But then when I take, I renew my threats, right? And also I have other threats. So he played what move, Arjun? G6. Now my bishop's attacking f7, so I fork his king and queen. And now there's no defense to the g6 pawn except the one that I just see right now, which is queen to d3, which is by far the best move. I didn't see queen to d3 during the game or after the game or when I've shown it before. But man, then I won't play queen g6 and mate him, so probably not getting mated is good. If you're taking notes at home, I would write not getting mated is good. Okay, now to make fun of you at home further, because you deserve it, it might be edited out, but I doubt it. Okay, you at home would all play queen takes queen check here. That's why you're watching a beginner's class. There's a reason why you're watching. Also because I look really cool, but that's a secondary reason. Also, there's this thing back here. Okay, but when you're checkmating somebody and their king is not safe, I could make a Marathon Man joke, but I'm under the weather. You don't trade pieces, you checkmate them. Right, Arjun?
Yeah.
Okay, so I played queen h5 check. He played the best move, queen h7, and I played bishop h6. Morphy's style, getting all my pieces into the attack. Also, my opponent sort of played like Morphy's opponents. He put all his pieces where they didn't move anywhere. Okay, but it was a blitz game, so give us a break. What do you want us to do? Play good? Okay, now he played what are called spite checks. Right, Arjun? Which is funny because he has a 7 up there, right?
Thank you, check.
Yeah, but look at the 7 up over there.
What?
Yeah, isn't that weird?
Yeah.
Yeah, you'd think it'd be a sprite for my lecture.
Oh.
Okay. Oh wait, it's not a sprite check. Okay, so he played queen e4 check, and then he played queen d3 check. Now remember at home, this is a blitz game, and illegal moves lose. So he had good chances there. If I don't see him in check, he wins. So, pretty good. Okay, and I move my king away. Now, if he checks me with his queen, that will be risky because I'll take his queen. And now I'm threatening everything because I'm all over him. Okay, and so he defended. So the checks didn't really accomplish very much. I would prefer his queen wasn't on h7, because then I have discovered everything. So I played, what move? Somebody who's not Arjun. How did I kick his queen off of h7? Bishop g6. Also, between me asking that question and you answering it, Arjun changed his name. So now I can call on him again. Right? Yeah. Okay, now, clearly the best move is resigns. Much better than other moves. You agree?
No.
No, what would you play, Arjun? Also, what's your name? What? No, him.
G6.
What?
He takes G6.
Queen takes g6. Your defensive skills need work. Okay, he played queen to g8. And now every move is mate. But I have a rule, always play bishop f8. So I play bishop f8. Now for those of you who are confused, which is all of you at home, that's check. That's discovered check. Now my opponent did something very strange. He didn't resign and he didn't get mated.
He played Queen H7 and then resigned.
Very good. He played queen h7, the only legal move, and before I could capture it, he resigned. I'm like, wait, what kind of timing is this? You know? Yeah, so let's go here, because let's pretend that happened. Yay. So, as in a lot of Morphe games, my opponent, thought he was playing Morphe, I guess. Okay, didn't develop his queen side. The thing that he really did wrong this game that you should learn at home is he played knight f6 on move 1, knight e4, and then at his very first opportunity, he traded knights. You were going to say that, but you weren't here for that. So you're like, what? Yeah.
I'm sorry.
So, yeah, if you move your knight twice in the opening, which you shouldn't do, then you shouldn't trade it next move, because maybe your other pieces should move, maybe. And also, that knight was needed there to block bishop takes h7 check, and then my attack was pretty successful. Right, Arjun?
Right.
And you remember your blitz games from the tournament, too?
Not all of them. I only remember my favorite one.
The one you won?
No, the one I drew.
Against Alex Marler? Never heard of him. Did he sack all his pieces, then it was a draw?
No, I did.
I thought he sacked all his pieces for perpetual.
No.
I got differing issues here on what happened in these blitz games. What's funny is when you play blitz chess at our chess club here out in the casual play area, here's what happens every game. I mean, not when I'm playing, when the gang is playing. Okay, white will play a move such as rook e1, then white will change his mind before hitting the clock. And then who knows where the rook's going after that? Like, it has to go back to a1, but neither player remembers where it was, so just go somewhere. Sometimes here. And then white makes the move he wants to make, and all of a sudden queen takes rook check. Even though the rook was on a1, the players don't remember. That's why you should always play touch move. And they don't play touch move when they play in the casual play area, because they don't know the rules of chess. And so they move a piece, change their mind, and put it back on the wrong square all the time. And when they do that, sometimes their opponent says, no, that's not where it was. And they go, yeah, it was, and they argue about it. I hear these arguments like twice an hour. And I'm like, when I play blitz chess, we never have arguments where the pieces are, but I hear like 10 an hour, like that's not where that was. And I'm like, what are they doing? Yeah. But if you play touch move, that avoids all of that. If you don't play touch move, you make moves and take them back, and then it's a disaster. Okay, and I should have left my phone at home. You know why, Arjun? Because this is a disaster. Okay, so I hope you learned a lot from Beginner Breakdown. We weren't beginners, but we played like beginners. We tried. And now, for my two favorite words of every class, Arjun, class dismissed.